Flying is now very much a part of our everyday lives, so much so that virtually everyone has flown somewhere and has a story to tell about it. Fortunately, their stories will not be as scary as these 8 most dangerous flights in the world. Know before you go! Number 1. Screwloose. A passenger on an Air Canada flight heard a loud pop outside his window halfway through his flight. When he turned to see what had made the sound, he saw a sheared-off bolt had impacted on the outer pane of his window and was embedded there. The pilot said they were safe to land because the internal pane was undamaged and the cabin remained pressurized. I'd be less worried about where the bolt had impacted and more worried about what it was no longer holding together. Number 2. Takeoff and landing. The scariest times during a flight are takeoff and landing, especially if you were on United Airlines flight 1243. The plane was making its approach to land at Newark Airport when air traffic control cleared another plane for takeoff on an intersecting runway. A delay in takeoff caused both planes to reach the intersection at almost the same time, just passing 50 yards away laterally and 135 vertically. Number 3. That's gratitude. A United Airlines flight from Newark to Venice was taxiing to the runway when newlywed couple Mike and Rachel Brumfield noticed a fuel leak. Mike rushed to inform the air stewards and was told to sit down. When the cabin crew checked for themselves, they told the pilots and the fire service was called. The flight was cancelled and United Airlines thanked the couple and gave them a food voucher, but they didn't supply a source of accommodation, so the newlywed couple spent the night on the floor of the Newark Airport. Number 4. Hail Mary. A flight heading to Phoenix, Arizona from San Antonio, Texas was hit by a tremendous thunderstorm. The storm caused the plane to drop like a stone and the passengers experienced extreme turbulence as it was pummeled by wind and hail and ripped out the plane's cockpit window. The pilots were forced to make an emergency zero visibility landing in El Paso. Number 5. False start. An Indonesian plane flying from China to Bali was forced to turn back 1.5 hours into its flight when passengers complained of a whistling noise. The cabin crew noticed that the system had detected that the front passenger door wasn't closed properly, although it hadn't detected this until they were up in the air. Upon returning, the plane was checked for 30 minutes and then allowed to resume its flight to Bali. Number 6. Snakes on a plane. An Aeromexico flight from Mexico City to Torreon had an unwelcome passenger that appeared as the passenger's seat belted up, ready for landing. Emerging from the overhead storage compartment like something from a B-movie, this bright green snake scared all the passengers on the plane, especially when it almost dropped to the floor. Even though the flight was given priority landing, there was no way anyone was going to obey the seatbelt sign. Number 7. Shakes on a plane. Passengers on a Malaysia Airlines flight from Sydney to Kuala Lumpur heard a loud noise and then felt tremendous turbulence. Some said it was like flying through the air on an unstable washing machine. Passengers were told that engine failure was the cause and that they were going to make an emergency landing. At one point, the crew called brace for impact and then was silent for 15 minutes. The passengers claimed that those 15 minutes felt like 15 hours. Fortunately, they landed safely at Alice Springs Airport and continued their journey the next day. Number 8. Sick in a plane. A United Airlines flight heading to Washington Dulles International Airport was hit by a windstorm in March 2018 whilst preparing to land. The intense turbulence caused by the storm caused mass vomiting throughout the plane and even the pilots were on the verge of throwing up. What's the worst flight you've ever had? Comment below.